Hello everybody, welcome to the tutorial for the Euphoria WordPress site. This is the introduction video for the WordPress site, and I'm just going to have a quick overview, then there will be videos on specific things. So here we have our site, and this is what it looks like to the people viewing the web page, and this is the behind the scenes. Once you log in to the WordPress admin, you'll see various features in this this bar. So let's go down quickly. The most important thing is this toolbar to the right. So here we have the posts, and these are all the posts that you can see for the news section. So the latest news section, these are all the posts, and then you have another post type, events. So when you want to create a post, you'll go here. So to add a new post, but there will be a video on adding posts by itself. Here the media tab is just where you can see what media, videos and images that you have on the site. Here, links, don't worry about it. This is pages. So when you need to create a new page, so you have the home page, the book now, news, facilities, location, our friends and events. If you need another page on the website, then this is where you go. The comments is not enabled for this site. Maybe at a later date people will be able to comment directly on the articles and things like this on the page. And then here we have the events. So when you need to post a new event, these are the permanent events for the page. What's happening every week, or the last Friday of the month, for example, or every Sunday. You want to have a little write-up about it. Then this here, you go to events, add new event. So we've got posts, which is what we have for news, and then events is what we have showing up on the events page. This appearance has different categories. Changing the theme, which we don't want to do, you don't want to touch that. Customize is the most important thing. Widgets are little pieces of software that run on the page that do certain functions. So here you have a carousel where you can slide over this, and this is in the sidebar section, but there's more on that later. What else? Menus, when you want to change this nav menu, or if you want to add a new menu, here's the structure and things. I'll make a separate video on that. Header, I don't even know what that is. Okay, so that'll be a part of the customizing. There's many ways to get to the same section on this. So you can go to add a new post, add a new page, add a new event from the top here. So there's many ways to get to the same thing, but I would go here in customize if you want to change the background. And this you probably don't want to mess with unless you're a bit of a developer, where you can edit the code, the files. So here we have the style sheet and these types of things. You don't really want to touch that unless you actually know what you're doing. Plugins are another piece of software that serves certain functions. So for example, the meta slider, which I have a video on, is a plugin that shows you the slides, that shows you the slides on the main page and the slide. So if you want to edit that, you find the plugin and you work with that. And the main plugins, the plugins that the only ones you should be touching, will have their own little tutorial about it, so you can get started with it. Users, if we want to add new user and things like this, a new editor of the site and things like this, you probably don't need to worry about that. Tools, don't really want. This is a plugin. This is the settings. You probably don't really want to mess with the settings unless you actually know what you're doing. But some plugins can be found in the settings. Some of the plugins aren't here. The BWS panel and the meta slider are shown here, but some of the plugins you might need to find them in the settings. Auto-optimize is to help speed up the site. You don't need to worry about that. The Facebook embed plugin can be found here, so that does these types of functions. Anything from Facebook that you want on the page can be found there. The page builder, we're going to have a tutorial about that, and then the Google Maps widget. So if you click on these, then you can find the options for that particular plugin. So the Google Maps widget, and here's all the settings. Okay. Custom fields, you don't need to worry about that. Yeah, the taxonomies and things, you don't need to worry about that. The BWS panel. Okay, so you don't need to worry about any of this. So that's the introduction. These all serve their own purpose. I would recommend checking things before you play around with them, and also keeping track of anything that you want to change. So for example, if you decide that you want to change something here, then I suggest you open yourself up a little file and record the changes that you make here. There'll be more on that each section. So yeah, it's basically a content management system. So a developer sets up the site, and then the people who own the site can continue to make some changes on the site. And yes, definitely, if you don't know something, when you're playing around with something, if you want to change something, for example, the widgets on the sidebar, if you want to delete this, you want to just take note that you've changed this. Let's say you want to delete this, then you want to get all the settings. You could take a screenshot, you could write down what these settings are, post type, events, nothing in here, nothing in here, nothing in here. You just want to keep that recorded before you take it away. Then once you change something, you want to check the whole site. So let's say we just delete the events. Go back. We want to delete this. Okay, so we've recorded everything now. We go around and check everything on the site, because sometimes you might find things affect each other. If you add a new plugin, it actually might conflict with an existing plugin, and the plugin that you add might be very, very useful, but then you might find that you're missing something. Look, okay, no toolbar. Okay, so then you need to make sure that you've recorded that, and then go back and find it. So that was the site carousel, post carousel. Okay, so the title was events, and the post type was events, no order. That's all the same. Save it up and refresh the page. There you go, and it's back. So when you change something, make sure that you record it, and then you check over the site to make sure that it hasn't affected something else. And if you do have problems, whenever you're working, you should read everything, not just go about experimenting, actually know what you're doing. So we've saved that. and we've put it back. Yeah, kind of know what you're doing before you set about changing things, and then check everything, double check everything, that it's all still working. Okay, and I think that's it for the introduction video. So I'll see you in the next one, which will be changing the appearance, which is probably the most important thing for people. Thank you.